Did you collect Beanie Babies?
I did not collect Beanie Babies.
Or I did.
Oh dear. If you weren't alive to remember the Beanie Baby craze of the 1990s, you're a lucky soul, because holy shit, was that a bad, dark, and crazy ass time. Amazingly, the entire craze can be traced to a single decision made by one man, the creator of Beanie Babies in the first place, Ty Warner.
How would you describe Ty Warner?
As a reclusive, eccentric asshole, basically. He was noted for his perfectionism and created Beanie Babies while working as a toy salesman in the 1980s, which he was apparently all kinds of godlike at. And he would turn up to sales and pitch meetings wearing, and I'm not making this up, a long fur coat while holding a pimp cane. That's just, I told you he was eccentric, and that's, yeah. I don't know what the purpose of that is, other than, like, you know, just asserting dominance, I suppose. But I'll be honest, if I was going to a pitch meeting and I sat down and the guy walked in full pimp regalia with like Return of the Mac playing in the background or something, I'd stay for a minute just to hear what he had to say. Well, let's transplant this idea to something I guess more people can, like, you know, visualize and empathize with, and go for a first date. And worrying about what to wear on a first date is something we've all had. But Nisha, like, what was the most crazy outfit a guy could wear on a first date that you would just sit there and go, I'm going to hear him out just to know what the story is behind this? Because I have heard many stories from friends of mine. I can tell one while you have a think, if you like. So I've got a friend who's currently living out in China, and he said on a date he had with a girl, she came dressed like a porcelain doll. And he was so intrigued, he stayed for the dates to see what the fuck was going on. You know what? I respect that move. But
it's confidence, isn't it, to wear something like that?
Well, I've done it before. An ex-girlfriend of mine, our first date, we went to KFC and I wore a suit because she didn't believe I'd do it. So I said, wear your nicest dress, I'll put on my nicest suit and we're going to go to KFC. And she didn't think I was serious. I turned up to her house in a suit and went, we're going to KFC, aren't we?
Did she not? Did she wear a nice dress?
Yeah, she wore a nice dress, and it blossomed into a 2-year relationship. People respect confidence. What crazy ass outfit could a guy wear on a first date? You'd be like, I want to know where this is going.
Well, anything like leather or latex. Not my usual taste, but I'd be like intrigued. I'd be like,
you need to know. I'm like, were we talking like leather daddy from, like, you know, the Village People? or are we just talking like guy wearing like tight leather Ross pants?
I was thinking more like a long leather coat. And,
the duster with an anime t-shirt underneath and a fedora. So I thought you were going to say, mascot costume, something you could have a joke about. You're like, no. I would hear out stereotypical fedora man. And you know what? I respect it enough to move on. A meticulous tinkerer, Ty Warner would reportedly spend endless hours just meticulously changing every aspect of his Beanie Baby creation, from the placement of their cold, dead, lifeless eyes to where their spots appeared. The problem was, he would do this even after a given Beanie Baby had been released and put on the market.
So why would Ty Warner want to tinker something that's already been released?
Because he wanted to recall the products he was tinkering with to release, the better updated version. And for people who don't know much about marketing or business, that's a really fucking bad idea, especially something that's supposed to be collectible. And Ty Warner heroically ignored this advice when he recalled a peanut called Elephant, seen here, to change its coloration somewhat to be a slightly lighter shade of blue, shown here. And obviously, he was very aware that people were going to be all kinds of pissed about this, because Beanie Babies were marketed as being collectible.
Yeah.
And people are going to be pissed off if you randomly take one off the market for such a petty and stupid reason and they can't now buy it. So what he did is he sat down and he thought, how about I change the word recall to retire? And he issued a little press statement for the people who gave a shit, saying, Peanut has been retired. And he noticed that when he made this announcement, the price of Peanut on the Beanie Baby black market, a phrase I'm coining and trademarking right now, tripled almost overnight.
But there was nothing different about the new Peanut.
No, it's just a different colour. Well, there was nothing different about it, but Ty Warner observed with quiet intrigue, the changing of the word recall to retire, planted the idea in people's heads that the old Peanut was rare. And he watched as basically blind speculation saw the price of Peanut just increase. And it would later turn out that it was fueled almost entirely by people who wanted to sell their Beanie Babies. Because this is true. The woman who literally wrote the book on the value of Beanie Babies admitted after the fact, I just made up the cost. I would pick a random Beanie Baby, usually one that I owned or wanted to sell, and just release a newsletter saying, this one is worth this much money because it's rare, even when it wasn't. And she would watch as the price on things like eBay rose to match her estimation. An estimation, remember, she pulled completely out of her ass. It was a speculator's market being fueled by people hustling like motherfuckers. And Ty Warner got in on the hustle.
What do you mean he got into the hustle as well?
He started making shit up too, and he would release like cryptic messages to the press, like, suggesting that maybe stocks of a specific Beanie Baby might be running out, while simultaneously just ordering millions of them from China. And what he would do as well, he would micromanage, where deliveries went, and would ensure that maybe a couple of hundred will go to this one store, but then I'll send like 400,000 across the country to artificially plant the idea in people's minds that this Beanie Baby was rare, when in reality there were millions of them just in stores thousands of miles away. And he would do that on both sides of America. So people in one side of America were seeing well, this Beanie Baby's rare, it must be worth a lot of money, when in reality there were thousands of them on the other side, and they similarly had Beanie Babies that there were thousands of in that part of America, but in lesser supply, and they thought the same thing. To me, it is amazing because we did this article, we did this video today because you told me I collected Beanie Babies.
Yep.
And so you must know how crazy it got. Did you ever experience any of the madness that was Beanie Babies?
I wouldn't really call it madness, because when I was obsessed with them, I was really young and I didn't really care. I just collected them as in 'cause I thought they were cute and I just wanted one of each animal.
There it is, yeah.
And I used to name them my own names.
Yeah, it's fuck you, it's not Peanut.
I wasn't really one of those collectors that buys it for value or whatever. I just wanted loads of, because I'm a big animal lover.
So do you not have to deal with then the crazy people who would kick the shit out of each other to get them?
No, well, I don't think I've got any of the rare ones.
Well, there are no, we should clarify that there are no rare Beanie Babies. It's still a speculator's market. The only real rare ones are ones that got misprints and shit on them. I love this story because of all the crazy stuff that happened. One of my favourite aspects of it is that McDonald's did a Beanie Baby tie-in with Happy Meals. Yeah. And people, obviously, fueled by stories that certain Beanie Babies were selling for thousands on eBay, would go into McDonald's, buy 40 Happy Meals and just put them straight in the bin and then go through the Beanie Babies, or they would attack members of staff to try and get Beanie Babies from behind the counter, and they had to make deliveries of Beanie Babies under armed guards. And there is even a photo out there, and this is fucking amazing to me, of a divorced couple sat on the floor of a court divvying up their Beanie Baby collection under the watchful eyes of a judge to make sure they're not ripping each other off, because they deem that to be their most valuable asset. Because, people stake their life on these things. People invested their life savings thinking that one day these Beanie Babies will be worth a fortune. And the only people who really made any money off it were the people saying they're going to be worth a fortune, like Ty Warner and that lady who ripped everybody off.
Yeah, I'm trying to sell mine now, and it's just no one.
Because there are millions of them. And I said Ty Warner knew about this, and he would periodically just say, "Oh, this one's not being made anymore," while secretly ordering hundreds of thousands from China and sending them overseas. Because people would go to foreign countries to buy Beanie Babies. People would get on a plane, fly over to another country, buy Beanie Babies in the airport, and then fly back. Because they would hear a rumour on a message board saying something like, "Oh yeah, this rare Beanie Baby, there's a delivery of it in the United Kingdom." So they'd get a plane over there. People would run into stores and just sweep everything onto the floor and search all the Beanie Babies and body check children out of the way to get them. But we've not even got to the best part yet, because what is the most iconic aspect of the Beanie Babies?
It's the TY tag.
The little tag.
In pristine condition.
Yes.
You could buy the plastic covers.
You know about them, yeah.
Yep.
People started selling little covers for the tags to keep them pristine, because obviously you can't buy a Beanie Baby with a broken tag, and there are stories out there of from kids who had parents who sunk their college funds into this shit, saying as a kid I accidentally ripped the tag off a Beanie Baby and my mum went mental. And there are people out there now to this day who still think these things are going to come back and be worth a fortune. It's like there are so many stories of people who like invested their entire life savings into these things. It's not even funny.
I've had mine about 20 years.
And they'll never be worth anything because it was a speculator's market. And obviously we didn't have the internet back then, or it wasn't as big a thing. So people couldn't just check and say, oh, well, a store in Arizona got a delivery of 85,000 of these things. They're not rare, it's just they're just not being sold here. And it was all just artificial scarcity manufactured by the manufacturers to sell more of these things. And that to me is so funny.
So how did something as huge as this Craze disappear overnight so quickly?
Well, it has a lot to do with the fact that eventually people just stopped giving a shit. It got to the point where it was only people trying to buy and sell and collect Beanie Babies that were really buying them. So basically it was all people buying Beanie Babies and then selling them to each other, then trying to flip them to sell. So it got to the point where the only people who gave a shit were the people who didn't want them to collect, but to sell. And Ty Warner noticed this, and he realised that, the game was up when he announced that he was going to retire every single Beanie Baby currently in circulation, and the price of none of them rose in any significant way. And he went, oh fuck, the jig is up, we can't do this anymore. Which was also noticed by collectors of Beanie Babies who, realising that, oh shit, these things aren't worth anything anymore, no one's buying them, flooded the market with all theirs to try and get rid of them quickly, which caused the price to plummet, and it has never recovered since. Because obviously, what's the first thing you do when you realise, oh shit, they're not sell now to try and get rid of them, but everyone has the same idea, market's flooded, no more Beanie Baby craze, they're not worth anything else, to the point where today they're barely worth what they were when they were brand new in stores. And actual economists just study this going, yeah, it's a microcosm of just supply and demand and how it can really fuck you up if you try and manipulate it to such an absurd degree. But Ty Warner probably doesn't give a shit because the Craze made him a multi-billionaire. You are a collector of Beanie Babies, and recently you were attacked by your zoo, your menagerie of beanie animals when you went into your attic, if I recall correctly, yes?
Yep.
So how many would you estimate you have in your house?
Originally, I think...
Originally?
Before, because I've sold a few now.
Yeah.
But I think before I sold any, I had about 260?
That's an oddly specific number.
Yeah, because there was a point where I did count all of them. Because they used to sit on this massive shelf. And they used to fall down all the time, and I thought, you know what, I'm going to count how many I've got, and I had about 200 odd.
Oh,
I think it was like 250, 270 range.
Have you actually made a profit on any that you sold?
No.
Yeah, there it is. And and I know someone's going to come at me and say, well, I sold one for this much, and well done you. There are a few examples that I sell for several hundred, maybe $1,000, because they have one of a kind, they've got misprints, or people still say they think they're rare because no one gives a shit anymore. It's similar to comics and all that stuff where there's so many produced that there's no value in collecting them anymore, and it's fueled entirely by speculation. But I don't want to talk about that because that's boring. What isn't is you. What did you do with them? Did you just collect them, or did you?
I just collected them.
Just on a shelf?
Yeah. I used to, when I was really young, I used to play with them, when I'm 6 or 7 years old.
Do you ever throw them? Because they've got the solid beat, they hurt so much.
Yeah.
My brother and me, we had one from a gift from a holiday. So we used to wing those bastards so fast. We'd push the beads around to put as many as we could into the legs and throw them like ninja stars. So all the beads came out and they'd be this bolo of beanie death.
When I was younger, me and my cousin used to play with them every week. I used to bring them, we used to go to our grandma's and I used to bring a bag full of our favourites.
A bag.
And then we just create little stories.
See, I can't talk though because I was that kid who had the stacker box full of cars. And I know Hot Wheels and Matchbox?
Yeah.
There's a really, really, and I think that's one of the few toy markets where it's still quite valuable because they do release rarer ones and there's still quite a lot of money to be made in that. But no, I just the 50 car set you'd get from Poundland with the cheap shitty ones with the axles that broke immediately. We had a little hill in our back garden, and what we do is we'd roll the cars down, we'd stack up cars and do destruction derby and make little ramps.
Yeah.
And then one year I got a fucking Tonka truck. And that thing was amazing because I would sit in the Tonka truck and go down the hill and just smash through all the shitty little plastic cars we've got, and that was awesome. So I can't really talk, and I I think I get hundreds of these little things. And I had my favourite, which is obviously the really heavy Matchbox ones, or the ones from the Hot Wheels sets that we wouldn't send around the track because we were scared, because they weighed so much that they wouldn't go very fast. And what we'd do is, the Hot Wheel launcher?
Yeah.
We used to get that, and we'd get like 3 pieces of straight track, hold the launcher under our arm, and feed the cheapest cars we had into it, and fire them like a gun.
Did you ever have one of those, like, I can only describe it as like a carpet, which was a road?
Yeah, that thing was awesome.
Yeah, I used to have one of those.
And we had the Micro Machines cars. My brother had one shaped like a truck that opened up into a city, and I had one that was shaped like an army vehicle that opened up to a military base. And we'd set up all the Micro Machines, and then obviously Godzilla comes in. Then the Power Rangers come in. So I love when you combine toys as a kid. It's like, oh yeah, look, here's like the little city, and here's this little car driving around. Beep, beep, get your fuel now. Oh no, dinosaur attack! No! Here comes Goldar. He's 40 foot tall. You can't stop him.
I miss toys.
Oh man, I miss when toys. Have you seen some of the adverts you can get for toys nowadays?
Occasionally,
and some of them are so fucking awesome. And I think, oh man, if I was a kid and I'd have seen that, my mind would have been blown.
So I remember at Christmas, I used to get the Argos catalogue and circle every toy in it. Like, I want this.
Oh man, there are so many fucking awesome toys out there. The only toy series I think has got worse over the years are Super Soakers. Because Super Soakers are shit now. I want to say this. I don't know what it's called, it was the big purple one that you got to pump up like 40 times, and it would just launch this, basically a hydro cutter. Like that was the AK-47 of water fights, because it's just completely indestructible, and you could even use it as a weapon. So when people come up to you, just hit them with the water tanks. It weighs so much.
I think I had something like.
And nowadays they're also so terrible.
Yeah. And
I'm pretty sure that had a lot to do with back in the day, people would put Super Soakers next to each other's ears and deafen each other and shit. So they don't want any of that bad pressing. But I miss water fights.
Oh, I used to love them.
Even as an adult though, I can't really arrange one because everyone's got a phone.
I had a Nerf gun fight in America.
Oh man, so I want to do that, but I don't have enough. I had enough Nerf guns, so I gave them all away. But I don't have enough bullets. That's always the problem. You run out of bullets, and then you get to the point, oh no, stop, because you're picking one for.
Time out.
And then someone comes up and shoots you in the back of the ear with the one that I had in the pocket. Ah, you bastard! Stop it.